Airtable is a great tool. It's easy to use, powerful, a good compromise between a spreadsheet and an online relational database. But Airtable also has its limitations, and today I want to compare it with a self-hosted and cost-effective alternative, DaDaBIK. We'll build the same application with both the platforms. I'll build a client portal and compare their differences, advantages, disadvantages, and costs. Before continuing, let me introduce myself. I'm Eugenio Tacchini. I teach database and data science in college, and beyond academia, have been developing no-code and low-code platforms for over 20 years. I'm the founder of DaDaBIK and appifytext.ai. So I've been working with these tools for quite a while, and I think I have a good understanding of what makes them powerful and where their limits are. So let's go back to Airtable. Let's define it very quickly. Airtable is a cloud-based low-code platform that lets you build database-driven apps through a spreadsheet-like interface. Basically, you work with something that seems a spreadsheet, but you can add forms, views, automations to customize your workflows. But we said we wanted to discuss Airtable's limitations, right? So let's do it. First, Airtable is cloud only. You cannot host it on your own infrastructure. Well, that means your applications and your data live entirely on Airtable's servers. This is probably fine for most of you, but for many individuals and companies could be a problem. Why? Well, you might need to store data on-premise for several reasons. Security reasons, privacy laws, corporate policies, or you may want, to simply choose where your app runs. You want to run it on your laptop, your own cloud instance, a company server, and with DaDaBIK you can do exactly that. You run the application and store the data where you want. So let me define DaDaBIK now. What is DaDaBIK? It's also a no-code, low-code platform you can use to build data-driven applications, typically internal tools, but not only, and it's self-hosted, meaning you download it and you install it on any server that meets the requirements, from the cheapest shared hosting to an enterprise machine. And you can also connect the app you created to your own domain name. Let me give you an example. I don't know, you are creating a CRM for your company. You can easily run DaDaBIK at crm.yourcompany.com as any other website or web application. Okay? Second, pricing. Airtable's cost grows with users, records, and tables. The more your business grows, the more you pay. DaDaBIK instead offers a flat licensing model with no limits on users, tables, or records. And you can choose between a monthly subscription or a lifetime license. Third, permissions. In my opinion, Airtable's permissions and roles model is not very flexible when it comes to granting access to external users. Let's say we are building this client portal I mentioned before for a digital agency. We want to share projects and tasks with our customers, but each customer should see only their own data. This type of record level restriction isn't straightforward in Airtable. You probably need to duplicate views if you really need a multi-tenant app, or maybe you need to rely on third-party tools. In DaDaBIK, this filter is built in. You can easily define role-based access, ensuring each user, even external to your organization, sees only what they are supposed to. There are other limitations I will mention at the end, so stay with me until the end. But now, to make this comparison fair, I'll create the same application in both Airtable and DaDaBIK. we'll see the resulting app and we'll compare the costs, okay? So for Airtable, I use the team plan, and for DaDaBIK, the enterprise license. I will use AI features of both the platforms to build the app, at least the first version of the app. In the case of DaDaBIK, the AI layer is called appifytext.ai, and it's an external AI agent that builds DaDaBIK applications. Okay, so my goal is to build a simple client portal. Let's imagine we are a digital agency that wants to share projects, tasks, knowledge base articles, and invoices with our clients. Each client should have secure access, meaning they can only see their own data. That's a pretty standard setup, and I think it's a great test case. Okay, well, as I said, I will use the AI layer offered by both the platforms and type exactly the same prompt in both. So this is the prompt I will use. Customer portal. We are a web agency and we need a customer portal. Both our employees and the customers can access the portal. So we are giving some context. Then we give some details. When customers access it, they can see their projects and related tasks, knowledge base, documents, or video tutorials we want to share with them. Third, their billing history with a PDF file attachment. For project, knowledge base items, and invoices, we store the username of the related customer for easy filtering. So basically, this is for creating a multi-tenant application. Each customer will only see their data. Finally, for the UI, use blue and gray as main colors. All right, let's copy and paste the same prompt in both appifytext and Airtable, and let's start the creation. The AI generation process took about a minute, but I'll speed up this part of the video so we can jump straight to the results. And here is the application created with Airtable. Here is the application created with appifytext and DaDaBIK. The data structures are very similar. We can manage projects, tasks, knowledge base articles, invoices. The main relationships have been automatically detected. So for example, each task has a corresponding project. Maybe the set of fields is a bit richer for Airtable, but the apps are similar. Of course, we have CRUD capabilities, so we can create, read, update, delete rows. We have inline edit. DaDaBIK also created by default a dashboard showing some useful charts and some calendar views. Airtable didn't, but you can add this later, or you could specifically ask for that in the prompt. Of course, we can improve the app. This is basically the first version, but we can easily modify the data structures and customize the forms with a no-code approach. We can customize the layout. We can set the permissions. I won't go into details in this video, but with both the platforms, we can really improve a lot the application without any coding effort. But now, let's discuss some pros and cons of both the platforms after this first test. Here is what I think Airtable stands out. First, the user interface and the end user experience feels more polished. And if you only feel comfortable with the typical spreadsheet experience, well, then Airtable works very well. Let me give you an example. I can copy this row and paste it here exactly as I would do with Excel. I cannot do that with DaDaBIK. I would need to enter this record and click on Insert as New if I want to copy. So let me say that overall, the DaDaBIK experience feels closer to that of a traditional web application rather than a spreadsheet. Second, built-in third-party integration. This is very rich in Airtable. Let's say that when a new record is created in a table, I want to set my application to send a message on Slack, for example. That's very easy in Airtable because Slack integration is built in. You don't have this in DaDaBIK? Well, if you just need to send an email, it's built in. But if you want to use an external application like Slack, for example, you have to manually add those few lines of code needed to call the Slack API. On the other side, it also gives you much more freedom in terms of integration, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So, we discussed the strengths of Airtable. Now let's see where DaDaBIK stands out. First, it's self-hosted, so you control your data and infrastructure. Second, it uses a real relational DBMS, MySQL, PostgreSQL, Microsoft SQL Server, or SQLite. All are ACID compliant. So from the point of view of the data management, this solution is more robust. Third, flat pricing. So there is no record or user limits. Later, we'll take a closer look at pricing and calculate what running the same application would actually cost in both platforms. But now, let me add there is also a general cap on the number of records in Airtable. Let's see the pricing page. With the team plan, you get maximum 50,000 records. With the business plan, maximum 125,000. With the enterprise scale, maximum 500,000. And that's the maximum you can reach as far as I can see. With DaDaBIK, even on a quite cheap hosting, you can manage millions of records. 4. Extremely flexible permissions and customization. You have unlimited users, unlimited user roles, and for each user role, you can easily control what they can see in terms of tables, fields, and rows, and what they can do. Create, read, update, delete, and so on. It doesn't matter if they are internal or external users. You have full control on that. You can also add custom logic to your application using PHP and JavaScript without any sandbox restrictions. That means you are completely free to write and run your own code. You are not limited to DaDaBIK's APIs. DaDaBIK does provide APIs if you want to use them, but you are never forced to use them. Let me give you a few examples. Suppose you want to add a button here on this form that takes the current data and performs an action. Maybe it sends the data to another system in your organization. You can just code that. You create in DaDaBIK what we call a custom button, and then define the code DaDaBIK should execute when the button is clicked. Your code can also run automatically based on events. For example, after a record is created or updated, or after a user logs in. And if you need a completely custom page, you can build that too. It becomes part of your application, but you can use HTML, JavaScript, and PHP freely inside it. Okay, let's focus on costs now. We created a client portal. We said we are a digital agency, right? Let's say in our agency we have 10 employees working on the app, and these are our internal users. So they add projects, tasks, they upload documents, they generate invoices, things like that. And let's say we have 100 customers, and these are the external users, but they need their credentials as well, and they will be able to access the application. read their own data, but they also need to be able to modify some of the data. For example, we may have tasks assigned to the customers, and they need to mark the tasks as done. All right? So let's calculate the monthly price in Airtable, and let's compare it with DaDaBIK. If we want to be billed monthly, it's $24 per seat per month. So multiply by 10 employees, we have $240 per month. Then to give access to our customers, we don't need seats. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I can use the new portal add-on. Basically, we are talking about external users who can access and use the Airtable application, which are cheaper than internal users. So for 100 guests, it's $500 per month. So each month my bill is $940 for a team plan with 10 internal users, my employees, and 100 external users, my clients. DaDaBIK has 3 lifetime plans: Pro, Enterprise, and Platinum. But if we want to easily compare the cost with Airtable, we must choose the monthly subscription, not the lifetime license, right? And as monthly subscription, only the Enterprise plan is available. So for the Enterprise plan, the monthly cost is $19, and you don't have records limits, tables limits, users limits. So it's always 19 regardless of the number of internal or external users. This is the only cost for the platform. You need hosting though, unless you already have your own server or your own computer. Well, you can even install DaDaBIK on your laptop, but let's assume you do need hosting. So you have plenty of choice. You can use a very cheap shared hosting service, and DaDaBIK will work even on that solution. But if you run an application for your business and you have hundreds of users that daily log in and work with your app, maybe a managed virtual private server, VPS, hosting is a more solid solution. I'm talking about managed solutions. So you don't have to go through much technical details. Everything you need is typically already installed and configured with PHP, MariaDB, or Postgres, and so on and so forth. The monthly cost of a managed VPS typically depends on its technical characteristics, mainly the number of CPU and the amount of RAM. I don't want to advertise any specific hosting provider in this video, but a VPS running Linux with 4 GB of RAM and 4 CPU may cost around $60 per month, and that kind of VPS would be definitely more than enough for the application we built. So that's a total of $79 per month versus $940 per month. Of course, that's just a rough estimation, but in this particular use case, DaDaBIK would be over 10 times cheaper to run. And now let me briefly mention some additional business-oriented advantages in DaDaBIK. First, white label, meaning you can remove from the UI any reference to DaDaBIK and use your own URL to access the application. Second, built-in PDF generation with custom templates, meaning that you can design your own template in HTML, for example, an order template, and fit it with the data coming from your DaDaBIK app. Third, native LDAP integration. DaDaBIK can connect directly to your organization's LDAP server, allowing users to authenticate with their existing corporate credentials. And this is in addition to the other standard login options, of course. All right, I think that's it. Let me give you just a short recap. Airtable is great if you are fine with a software as a service cloud solution, and if you need a very user-friendly UI that works almost exactly as a spreadsheet. However, if you need a self-hosted, white label, scalable solution, or you need more control on your application and data and a way more cost-effective solution, DaDaBIK might be a very good enterprise-ready alternative. You can learn more on the DaDaBIK website. I leave the link in the description below. And if you want to start a 30-day free trial now, visit dadabik.com/trial 2025. It's free for 30 days and you can cancel anytime, even on the last day of your trial. Okay, so that's it for today. See you next time. Ciao!